Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday AM Meditative Writing Circle. We meet every week with a group of Black women writers, um, and we just come here to be able to journal together early in the morning. I have a topic for the week, and we get to write and discuss and talk about what we want to do with our lives. So, as always, I like to be able to start with just a short meditation. Good morning, Miss Carolyn. Let me see you. Sakai, good morning. Amadoma,
Good
welcome. Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
As always, I like to start off with just a short meditation just to be able to set us in the circle. So it's up to you. I'll keep my video on, but if you want to turn yours off just so you can focus, you can do that. And so you just start with your feet flat on the floor and you sit up straight so that you're comfortable where you are. And just allow yourself to catch your breath. If you were running to get here, just allow yourself to be able to relax yourself in the moment. I like to put my hand over my heart just so I can allow my breath and my heart to sort of catch up with one another, so to speak. You feel your heart rate start to slow down. And if you can imagine like a meter starting from the top of your head that starts to go down. And as you watch that meter go down, you can relax more and more into your space. So relax down past your ears, all the way down your neck. Drop your shoulders. Down through your chest and your torso. Just let go some of the tension in your back. All the way down towards your lower back. Down towards the back of your legs. Your knees. Moving towards your ankles and your toes. And you can store some of that stressful energy all the way down into the earth. Just give it all back to the earth, and the earth will store it for you. Take another couple of breaths on your own. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Good morning, everyone. All right, so the topic for today is what I thought was the end was actually the beginning. And I was actually I came up with the topic because I'm writing an article for a space, for an online space where I was writing about how I used to work in higher education and I was actually fired from my job in higher education, and how that particular job in higher education actually led to me getting a $12 an hour job at Whole Foods. And so I worked at Whole Foods for 12 months, and it was really one of the most creative jobs where I was that I'd ever had. And then, I was working in the kitchen, and I was actually working on being able to, practice food preparation and things like that. Because if you don't know me, I really love food. Food is really exciting to me. Food preparation and learning how to use food to be able to heal the body. And so being in a space with other chefs was really fun for me. And I didn't think that, as a background of working in higher education, that I would be able to do something like that. And so it really gave me the courage that I needed to be able to think about other ways to be able to make money, things that were more creative, some things that made more sense for where it is that I was moving into. And that was how I got into being a writer. It took some time. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of time for me to be able to believe that I could actually make a living as a writer. But eventually I got myself together. And so that was really how it was a long and winding road for me to be able to figure out how to be able to move overseas and to be able to make a living as a writer while traveling the world. Um, and so I wanted to offer us an opportunity to be able to sit down and think about today. What are the things that in hindsight sort of felt like it went wrong, but later on you figure out that it was actually a door that was opening to something new. And so if you have your journals available, I'll give you the first writing prompts, and let's see. So the first question is to just write about something that felt like a loss, but later revealed itself as an opening. What did that moment make possible, and what clarity, freedom, or new path came next, even if it took time for you to be able to see it? I'll repeat it. Write about something that felt like a loss, but later revealed itself as an opening. And I will put it in the chat so you'll have it. And I will put like 6 minutes on the clock for us. Okay. So what we're writing about is write about something that felt like a loss, but later revealed itself as an opening to something new. And the way this works for folks that are new, is that you can read what you wrote. If you choose to share, you can read what you wrote, or you can just sort of, just give us a synopsis or share the spirit of what it is that you were thinking about, what it is that you were writing.
I'll go.
Who's that, Lauren?
Yes, I'll read. Okay, so I said, building the willpower and courage to leave a job in my career after thinking I would stay for two. Being accustomed and conditioned to stick it out at jobs, even when I hated them because, quote unquote, that's just what you do. Knowing that I wanted to leave early on, but it taking months to finally act on it, thinking that I would be losing out on the experience, but instead it introduced me to solo travel, Stephanie Perry, house sitting, taking career breaks, etc. My entire mindset shifted after this loss. It started me on a journey to realizing I wanted more from life, not just work. It helped me understand that I didn't like the politics within my field, which is social work, and the limitations that it put on me, and it helped me start fresh and seek something new, which I'm continuing to do.
Yeah, I love it. And it's good. I love to hear when younger people say that they leave jobs early. Um, just because I think we put too much, not that jobs aren't important, we all need to be able to pay for, our space to be able to live here on the planet. But we put too much emphasis on what the job is, and we create beliefs like there are no other jobs in the world. You get the one job, and we think that there is no other job available for you where you would feel comfortable or you would be happier someplace else. People stay in jobs with, racist staff, and they're getting abused day in and day out, and they get disrespected. And I'm like, why are you still, like, it's been 3 years. What are you doing? So it's good for people to be able to get the message early on. You ain't got to stay. You can go somewhere else and do other things with yourself. Thank you, Lauren. Anyone else?
Yes, I'll share.
Yes, Miss Cameron.
Good. How you doing this morning?
I'm well. Good to see you. You always look so bright and happy in the morning.
Yeah, I wake up like that. At this stage of the game, I'm real happy to be alive. So, pardon me. I don't know. I've been able to identify many, many losses as eventual openings to portals of self-actualization. The one that stands out for me the most is having to drop out of cosmetology school in the 90s. I needed a job. Pardon me, in the 80s. I got my timing wrong. I needed a job. So I found out about a free computer training. The software at that time was Wang. I got the hang of it, and that knowledge landed me a civil service job in short order. I retired from that job 20 years later, and with 3 degrees that I didn't have to pay for, that I worked at a college.
Mhm.
And I started studying holistic health. It turns out that that failure turned into a livelihood that brings me an immeasurable amount of joy today. I was able to finance my holistic health training by working as an adjunct after I retired. And I worked as an adjunct even as I worked as a secretary those 20-something years after I earned my degree. I would be a secretary during the day and an adjunct at night.
Mhm.
What I learned in cosmetology school gave me transferable skills because of my interest in self-care, skincare, which translated into aromatherapy, and just herbalism in general, which I do now.
That's awesome. So you went from working in computers to cosmetology school to holistic health.
Yes.
That's interesting.
And you know what I did, I tried to study according to what my age would be. So that when I took on another job, it would be less taxing based on my age. So holistic health at this time of my life is perfect for me
Mhm.
because I get to focus on my own health while I help other people.
Mhm. That's a good way to look at it.
Mhm.
I guess that's kind of the same way that I do it, that I do it. So I can, because I was very clear early on in my 20s. I had joined the Peace Corps after sometime after I had graduated from school, and I had lived for 2 years in West Africa, where I had all kinds of sunshine and was outside every day. And then
Mm.
came back to the States and had to sit in a cubicle. I was like, oh, this is not it. This is not the life for me. I was very clear.
Mhm.
But it took me some years to be able to figure out how to be able to do what it is that I do now.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
yeah, that makes sense to be able to figure out what would feel less taxing on the body as you get older.
Mhm. Because when I try to tell seniors, I didn't get the demographic yet that I want to speak to. I want to speak to people who haven't retired yet, to tell them you think about what you want to do when you retire while you're working.
Mhm.
Because when you wait until you retire, I don't know. Well, I didn't do it, so I can't really tell what happens. But it seems like to me, you're a step behind the eighth ball.
Mhm.
You know, because you haven't kept up with what's going on outside while you're drudging away inside at, just trying to, because that was my thing. The main thing that kept me in my job was the free education.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching a video the other day. I'm sure you know of Dr. Christiane Northrup.
Yes.
And I don't know how old she is, but she's an older woman, an older doctor who talks a lot about women's health.
Yes. I have
And
her
I,
book
and I
right over on the table there.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching her videos on Facebook, and like she's been around long enough for her to just be able to roll over and go to sleep, really. Like she,
Mm-hmm.
she really doesn't have to do anything.
Right. It's a nice thought, but who wants to do it? I'm busier now than when I was working. I'm like, God, sit down.
Hmm.
It's important.
Hmm. Yeah, and she's just as excited and learning new things about, women's health and sharing it on Facebook. It's wonderful to watch. And it made me really sit down and think about when I'm her age, what could I be sharing? What will I be sharing and doing, on Facebook or whatever the platform might be,
Mm-hmm.
at that time in life.
And she's
Yeah.
super current. She just did a workshop on how the 5G towers are causing parasites in
Hmm.
the body. So
Wow.
she's super current and supercharged. Like age is not a number to her for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. That's how I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I want to continue to be relevant in life. It's
Yeah.
time to go. Hmm.
And that's the way you find love too. I'm not talking about romantic love. I'm talking about it gives me so much pleasure to say do a tuning fork um activation
Hmm.
and just watch the worry fall off of them. And
Hmm.
and have them tell me, "Ooh, I feel like taking a nap." They don't realize that the breathing exercise that I had them do right before I did the tuning, I had already thrown them in bed. You see?
Right.
Yeah. So it's nice to find your magic. Because each of us,
Finding your magic,
each
I
of
love
us
it.
owns magic.
Mm-hmm. See, let me go on to the next prompt. The question is, what wisdom do I carry now that I owe to that chapter of life that we just wrote about? What wisdom do I carry now that I owe to that chapter of life?
Hmm. What is that kind of-
So the question is, what wisdom do I carry now that I owe to that chapter of life that we just wrote about?
I can share.
Yes.
It's a little bit long, but here's what I wrote. The wisdom of knowing me, the insight to clarity of self, knowing that things were not as I thought they were, but rather life was unfolding all around me, giving nuggets of the past that I'm now able to use for the right now and in planning my future. I have noticed that rarely do we have youth and wisdom at the same time. As a young person, I was very spontaneous and carefree. However, that spontaneity landed me in a place in life I didn't want to be. Yet now in my adult life, I am able to channel the spontaneity. The greatest wisdom I have now is the importance of focusing on self and being me in spite of world expectations. Age has brought clarity.
Mhm. I love that age has brought clarity. It does. It doesn't for everybody. I've learned that.
That's true.
So it's a
So
good thing
true.
when it does.
I'll go.
Yes, Khalifa.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So the backstory of this lesson and my takeaway is you don't know what's waiting for you on the other side of fear. And that resonates for me for a number of things. I've had some very interesting and life-changing events in my life that if I had been too apprehensive to walk through that door, I would have never known the blessing that was waiting for me. And then one of the biggest blessings is, so when I was in journalism school, one of the assignments was we had to write our own obituaries, which at the time I thought was pretty morbid, but it actually is a very enlightening exercise if anyone wants to do it for themselves, because you're basically writing what you want to have accomplished and how you would have wanted to live in your life. And what I wrote about my life and the way I wanted to live it, I was able to actually create that for myself. I moved to the Caribbean. I took a job as a newspaper reporter. At the time, I was a single mom to a little 2-year-old, and I left my entire comfort zone here in the US to take this opportunity. And so the fear was because I've always had an adventurous spirit and a free spirit. And I think a pretty happy-go-lucky spirit, but walking and leaving my comfort zone to go across to, an ocean of not knowing anyone actually put me into a pit of love. I met my husband when I moved there. I didn't know I was going to do that. And my life there for almost 13 years was, it's literally was just incredible. Not just because I fell in love, but what poured out of me creatively through writing, through my photography, and just living, or I should say my biggest takeaway, wisdom is you don't know what's waiting for you on the other side of fear. So to be open to those invitations.
I love that. That's beautiful. One of the things that I had written about too was that the to emphasize your part about fear. is that we feel like when something is ending, that there is nothing after that, that there's no possibility for something to come after that. And for myself, I had spent a lot of time being worried that I would be punished for the wrong decision that I had made that led to, the firing at the job or whatever. And you feel like there won't be anything good for you after that. And then of course that doesn't happen. But you sort of learn that over time. So yeah, so moving past the fear, or at least moving with the fear, maybe is a better way to be able to explain it. Thank you, Khalifa. Anyone else want to share? Kim,
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you guys. Really quickly, while I was listening to all of this wonderful information, so I love this group. Some things came up that I hadn't thought about, and just really quickly, Halona, you just said something that I want to piggyback on. It's like after something ends, you think that there is nothing coming, that there will be nothing, and you feel totally lost. So I think the wisdom that I carry now, having gone through a lot of those situations, is that I had to get comfortable living in that uncertainty. Mm-hmm. I had to get really comfortable with not knowing. And at this point in life, not knowing feels really good sometimes. And it's not scary anymore. So, I've learned that stuff comes, stuff goes, things change. And that doesn't mean that I don't feel fear. It doesn't mean any of that. But over time, being comfortable in my own shoes, making sure my shoes are on the right feet, as I say, that it's had to get comfortable living in not knowing, living in the middle, living in limbo, and which just makes me show up. And if I just show up, sometimes life will show out for you if you just show up. So I appreciate this conversation. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you, Kim. And that uncertainty, that part, even now, that sometimes kills me. I'm like, because I'm a control person. I need to control everything. I'm still learning how to be able to relax in the not knowing. And that part is hard for me. So yeah, that's a good one, to be fine with being uncertain instead of making it a stressful experience. Oh goodness. I'm learning that we add our own stress and we make ourselves suffer with our own thoughts about stuff that's not even really happening. Like we're making it up in our head. And sometimes it's just good to just be like a baby. Just be fine with not knowing and just roll with it and just see what tomorrow brings. That's it. That's all it's gotta be. But I make it stressful. We'll do one more prompt. Let's see. What message would you give to the version of you who was in the middle of that loss? What message would you give to the version of you who was in the middle of that loss? So the question is, what message would you give to the version of you? What message would you give to the version of you who was in the middle of that loss?
I'll go.
Yes, okay.
I would say to the many losses and the grief of not seeing the end turned into a fresh new beginning. I would say hang in there, stay the course. It's got to get better if you don't give up. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Just keep plodding away. You can't see the tiny seed growing under the earth, but oh, that mighty oak is on its way and is sure. Seeds have life. Just keep watering, tilling the soil, and you'll see the mighty oak in you and is in you.
So you would give yourself encouragement to just keep going. I love it. Thank you. Anyone else? Kim or Lisa?
Yeah, I'll go.
Mhm.
Okay. I would say, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
When things come your way, be grateful. When people want to help you, be grateful. When things look grim, find the silver lining. Your gratitude will lead you to more opportunities. Also, be a blessing in someone else's life. We all have something to give, whether it's a kind word or even a phone call. I would say that the one thing that is true is change is inevitable, and the more skilled we get at riding the waves of life, the better our lives will be. We are all souls on a journey, and remember that the soul will lead you in the best direction, but we must remain open and trust. So I think leading with gratitude, and that always works, basically, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Thank you. And change is inevitable.
Yeah, my yoga teacher told me you have to surf on the waves of life.
And that's change is hard for a lot of people to accept. I think of a lot of just people that I grew up with, a lot of my family members. They have not adapted to change very well, and it shows in their quality of life as they get older. So learning how to accept that is a large life skill that I think that a lot that some I don't know how would you teach that to somebody? You just sort of learn through the process, and some people get the message and some people don't.
I think that people have to have a vision of who they want to be before they can shape that person. If you don't have that vision, if you don't see it, how can you be it? The one thing that I would say to myself is submit, accept, be still and know, trust your own instincts, and replace worry with wonderment. Like there's so many things to fascinate you on this planet. And sometimes you have to seek it. It doesn't just walk up to you.
I'll go. I'll add something real fast. I put don't try to figure out the path ahead. Trust that this pain and loss will help navigate my way. Grief is like winter, and life is like a flower in constant bloom.
Grief is like a flower in constant bloom. That's beautiful. Thank you.
So what I wrote was short and to the point. I wrote, roll with it, period.
So just roll with it. What else are you gonna do?
Just roll with it. Because sometimes we fight in life so hard against things that are good for us, things that are going to make a difference. But I don't know, me didn't always see it, and just fight against the inevitable.
Mhm.
And it's really a benefit.
Absolutely. 'Cause the more we fight, you just get more fighting. That's it. Anyone else?
I wanted to add too, and thank you everybody, and thank you Cynthia for that. Like roll with it, and you say sometimes we don't see it. I think almost, if I dare say, almost everything has to do with our eyesight, what we see and how we see it, and the perspective. And our perspectives could be so tainted, but we build we make it our foundation, and so. I know this quote. They say it's Helen Keller, but I don't know who it is. But it says, "I close my eyes that I may see." I love it.
Mhm. Thank you, Sakai. Anyone else? Well, ladies, we are about at the top of the hour. So thank you so much for volunteering to get up early in the morning to be here in community with other Black women writers. I appreciate your presence and your participation. And we will be back again next week with another topic. If you ever have a topic that you would like to be able to talk about, you can just hit, if you get the emails, you can just hit reply and let me know. Also, if you have a friend that you would like to be able to share this with, you can forward the emails to them as well. New people are always welcome to the group. And yes, and for people who are watching the recording, if you want to be able to join us live, you're welcome to do so. You just go to the description box and click the link there and put your name and your email address in the box, and you'll be able to get all of the updates on our Wednesday circle and all the other things that I have going on. So thank you so much, ladies. I will see you next week.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I have something
Bye.
that appears that's on my screen that prevents me from writing in the chat. I have an Android, and all of a sudden, I have this stuff on the side of my screen, and I don't know why it came about, but I can't write in the chat on Zooms right now because of it.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know how to use it on the phone. I always use it on my laptop.
Yeah, I'll have to find out. Thanks a lot. This was a good one.
Bye.
Bye
Thank
Take
bye.
care,
you. I'll see
everybody.
you
Have a good
next week.
day.
Love you.
Bye-bye. Love you too.